You're listening to Whispers of War.
Hello everyone and welcome to show 42 of Whispers of War. I'm your host Sil, and let's just jump into how was my week in Warcraft. Well, as you might have guessed, I didn't play a lot of Warcraft. For one, I was back at my family's in Holland for my grandmother's funeral, which was really, in a way, very nice. I think, it's never a nice saying goodbye, but it was a very, very lovely and beautiful funeral, and it was just really nice seeing my family again, because I don't think I've seen a lot of them for at least several years, 3 or 4 years. Of course, I saw my aunts and uncles 4 months earlier when my dad passed away, so yeah, it was all a bit, I don't know, it's not a very happy time, as you can imagine, but in Holland I don't have a computer to play any World of Warcraft on, so it was very quiet on the gaming front, and I have to admit I was missing it a little bit, because I've been really into it lately, and I just started watching a lot of YouTubes in Holland just to keep that itch scratched a little bit. But I came home yesterday. Oh god, let me just tell you about the flight home. So I've never had real issues with flying at all. I'm not scared of flying. Most of the flights they leave on time. This was the first time I flew on my own. So not with my boyfriend with me, and I thought, you know what, I'll be so happy when I'm home and I can just chill. Well, that didn't really go as planned, because my plane was supposed to leave at 11:15 in the morning, and then I was already trying to navigate my way through Schiphol, and it's massive. I don't think it's as big as Heathrow, but it's very big. And the planes I use are like the furthest away in the terminals. So you first, I do like it about Holland. Sorry guys, this is like very much my experience of airports. I like it that in Holland, when you go through security, you don't have to take anything out of your bags, like your liquids. It can just all go into your bag. They will see it all, which, saves a bit of time of trying to put everything back in. I'm quite happy with that. Then you're being put in some kind of like techno machine, and it just basically scans your entire body to see if you have any, drugs or weapons on you. But that's not the end of it. Then they want to see your passport, and it was like queuing in Disney World. The line never ended. It went quicker than expected, but it was a bit like, oh my god, as soon as you get out of security, you have to go through that. And finally done that, and it was, I had half an hour to reach my gate. Guys, it took me half an hour just to walk through it, and I'm not like a very slow walker. But it took me half an hour to get there, and all the while I was carrying this heavy hand luggage, like weekend bag, on my shoulders, and I thought, shall I get a little trolley or something? And then I thought, nah, it can't be that far. Yeah, I regretted that by the end of my journey to the gate. Anyhow, I finally sat down, and just in time, 10:30, and I thought, okay, well, I have 45 minutes. I'm sure the plane is there. I look at where we're supposed to be a plane. No plane. It becomes 11 o'clock and still no plane. I'm getting a little bit like, this is weird. 11:15, the plane finally arrived, and people are still, getting off board. And I thought, that's strange, okay. So eventually, at 12, we finally all get on board, we sit down, plane goes. The person in front of me had a tray that was broken. Now I get like Final Destination visions immediately, so I'm like, I get a bad feeling about this. So we go to the landing strip, and the taxi way is quite far away actually, because we have to go to like the furthest landing or takeoff strip. Anyhow, we're about to take off, but the plane is just standing there, and it's wobbling from side to side, and I thought, this is weird. Then the pilot starts talking to us, saying that there's a technical glitch. that doesn't fill you with confidence. And he says they're going to get the plane taxied to a quieter place so we're not blocking all the other airplanes. And he says, oh yeah, it's just a matter of, and I quote, it's like a computer, control alt delete. That's all we need to do, and then hopefully it will reset itself. That was not the case. So that was done. It was hot in that plane, and they had to reset the plane, so there was no air conditioning. I thought I was going to die in that plane. There was a technical engineer on board. One of the not guests, but you know what I mean. One of the people on board. He actually had I don't know. He was allowed to do that, but even he couldn't get it to work. So the plane went back to Schiphol, and we had to wait for like 15 minutes to see what would happen. Finally, we had to go off board. They would get an engineer out, but the engineer had to be flown over from England. That would take at least another 2 hours, and then they would let us know if the plane would leave at all. Yeah. You should have heard the groans, including mine. I was fuming, because I just wanted to go home. I understand it's for everyone's safety, but the fact that it had to take that long, no, I was not happy. So what is a girl to do when she's alone in the airport and bored? I kind of like spend my money on a lot of stuff I shouldn't have been buying. But at least I have a very cool I Amsterdam hoodie now. And got back after about 2 hours. We all then got vouchers and for a free meal, so it was like 15 quid. But airport food is expensive, so you know, you can buy one drink and one meal really for that. And after that, most of us went back. We had to go back to another gate because there was going to be a plane that would leave at 5 o'clock. But we had to make sure that we would be there at 4:15. 4:15, we're all sat there waiting for a plane to arrive. There was no plane. So a lot of us were like, this is not looking good. Finally, at 5 o'clock, the plane arrived. So it was a bit late. People still had to off board, I guess. And finally we could go in. It was a nicer plane, I have to admit that. No trays that seemed to be broken. And we finally all sat. We were all so dead, and I think we were all really relieved when the plane was up in the air. But to say that I was kind of done that day, yeah, that's an understatement. So we had a delay of about 6 hours. And I was just exhausted. I was exhausted when I came home, and I was so happy that my boyfriend was there to pick me up, because we still had to drive a little bit to get home. But yeah, I think that's the last time I'm flying with that company. That's never ever going to happen anymore. If you want to know which company, just look at my Twitter, because I've been raging about it. I think we are now going to go a little bit further to another airport and fly with probably someone like EasyJet or Ryanair. You know, I'd rather go with KLM, if I'm honest, because they're Dutch, and I like the KLM. So yeah, no, I'm kind of done with flying for now. That was my experience in an English aircraft that went to Holland. I haven't done that in several years. Not impressed at all. But yeah, Sil's adventures in the sky, not that great. Not that great. When I came home, however, I did manage to play a little bit of World of Warcraft. I say a little bit, actually all weekend I've been playing World of Warcraft. So I have finished my Colteran rep, finally. I immediately started a Colteran, of course, but I really like the Colteran quest series that you have to do. I mean, no dungeons this time, which was a nice change from the Dark Iron Dwarves. This is a bit of a spoiler, so if you haven't done it and you don't want to be spoiled, just tune out for like a minute. I thought it was really sad at a certain point that you have to follow a wicker dog. That's what I'm going to call it. And you see some sort of ritual where its body has been sacrificed, and it's basically, you know, a dog's, I guess, soul being transferred in like a construct. It was a little bit sad, I thought. And then you have to call the ship that you're building after, you get 4 choices. And I went with Tiffin's Melody because I think it's nice. But I do wonder what Anduin says with the other choices. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of flying back and forth, but it was actually quite nice. So I created the Colteran Mage. I wanted to do another Druid, but I already have like 2 or 3 Druids. So I thought, you know what, even though I love the animal forms for the Colteran Druids, I went with a Mage. Just because I felt like playing a Mage. So, yeah, why not? And I think she looks alright. I'm still not 100% sold on how Colteran females look. But for now, I'm only in it for the heritage gear, if I'm honest. And besides, it's another thing that I want to level. And the good thing about leveling now is that the Fire Festival, or the Midsummer Festival, is up. So if you are leveling and you weren't aware, because I couldn't remember anymore, but if you do that whole the pole dancing thing, that sounds so wrong, but the you have that fire thing and you basically click on it and you spin around. If you do that long enough, you get a buff, which actually helps you with, I think it's 10% extra experience bonus on top of all your heirloom gear when you kill mobs. And that all helps. So yeah, I would definitely do that, even if you have to go back every hour to like a major city to get that buff again. It all helps. Even if you just, you could always just queue up for dungeons and just stay there and then reapply the buff if you don't want to quest. So yeah, I'm going to do that a little bit on my lowbies. I still need to kill a Hoon. I haven't done it at all on any of my characters this year. I don't really know if it's worth doing. I guess it's a little bit of experience when you hand in the quest. And I have started the rep grind on my Blood Elf for Silvermoon. I have no idea why this Blood Elf does not have high reputation with Silvermoon. I'm really wondering what I did with her, if I had a free boost or something, and that's what I used on her, because she has done nothing like that. Yeah, it's really, really, really odd. I really think I boosted her a while ago. So I want to do the heritage gear, and the others are not that far off. So I just need to, I need to focus on all the allied races now for their heritage gear, and then you have the Tauren that I've just created. I've created a Tauren Paladin, a Gnome Priest, because Hazelnutty kind of inspired me, and I have a Dwarf Hunter as well. So that's the dwarves. And which one is left then? The Blood Elves. So then I have them all for the new races, or not new, but the old races, and the new heritage gear. And then I have to work on everything else. So I'm quite busy, and considering that 8.2 is really just around the corner, like a few more days, I probably won't have time for doing all of that, because I'll be out in Najetar. I think I'm going to do it on my rogue first. As much as I enjoy being on my alliance toon, my rogue is still my baby. She's still my main. I enjoy playing around with my Blood Elf rogue. I love how much damage she does. So yeah, I will do that on my rogue first. But yeah, I'm looking forward to 8.2, and I'm wondering if you guys are looking forward to that as well. Now, it's going to be a little bit different this week. I had an amazing interview planned with Michael from the Blue Recluse, but at the moment I wasn't really feeling it yesterday. I was not feeling very sociable and everything, so I thought, that's not fair on Michael and not fair on you guys to have an interview that I'm not really not wanting to do, but I was not in the right mindset. And I am going to leave that for next week. Michael has been amazing and just said, you know what, we'll do it next week. Or I asked him if it was alright to do it next week, and he said, yeah. So you will have an interview with Michael next week. For now, then, it's a little bit of a shorter show. I am going to talk about all your answers that you sent in several weeks ago about what your favorite race is. So I will start with that, and here we go. Half-assed marathoner Daryl said, and of course this is Daryl from the Training Dummies, Urgh because transmogs look best on them from the helm all the way down to the boots. Now I have to agree with that because Urghs do look really amazing. I think humans and Urghs just look amazing in everything, and I think that's because they are like the kind of basis races for the game. Aaron Wilbanks said, I love the Worgen mostly because of how powerful and cool they look, plus I'm a sucker for werewolf type characters. I wish there were more Worgen who were excited to be Worgen. I don't want to be a Gilnean who changes when they're mad. Give me a wolf person pride. Give me wolf person pride. I think, yeah, that's actually really, really true. I think I'll have that once the Worgen females have a new look. And I think we're getting that in 8.2, don't we? So, I believe so. So, yeah, that would be interesting. It would also be interesting to see how the goblins look then, because that's something I'm really looking forward to. Sai said, I've been playing a Draenei for a very long time now, but Night Elves are my favorite. Cool lore, cool models, and a cool way of life. I like them as is, so I wouldn't change a thing. Martin te Braak, my main is a Night Elf, probably because they were so cool in Warcraft 3. Very true. I think Tyranny was much more like how she is now. Leo Wild said, Worgen, I always play male. I'd love for a male Worgen to have more rich fur colors, a darker black, a proper brown, etc. I also think a tail option would be cool. I know it's not lore accurate, but many people give them tails in their art. Pick them because werewolves are cool. I never use my human form on my Worgen after the cathedral. My Worgen characters are accepting, even proud of their curse. Galen Keller has to be dwarf for me, and it's mostly the animations and movement. I love how they run. The problematic gnome said gnomes, originally because I thought there was nothing more trollish than a 2-feet warrior smacking down a giant orc or bull. Then I learned what little lore they had, and I was hooked. A selfless race, plagued by tragedy, putting on a smile and pushing through anything life throws at them. I wouldn't change a thing. The gnome, in my opinion, is the perfect race. We know our origins, we will soon know about our history almost in full, and we are the most badass fighters on Azeroth, and we are smart. Yep, perfect. Wait, I want a gnome throw. A gnome throw would be very interesting. Jazz Hazard said, I prefer Night Elves. I may change to Void Elf in the future. I play a male because I'm a guy and it feels good that way. I would definitely like more facial customizations for the Night Elves, but as it stands, I find Night Elves one of the more visually appealing Alliance race models. Travis, I've always favored elves. First Night Elves since that was available, and because I love them in Warcraft 3. When Blood Elves came out, I jumped on that too. Trying to level a Void and Nightborn too, but burnt out. Depending on what class I'm rolling is which elf type I'll make. I'd like more tattoos and earring or jewelry options for them, as well as just more options overall for the existing categories. It would also be nice to have more class specific options, like my Night Elf Druid being able to have small antlers starting to grow in. Mikey said I'm basically a 6-foot dwarf, if that's a thing, so I gotta go with my kin. I have a hard time thinking like a female, so I always play male toons. I changed the fact that Wildhammer dwarves aren't playable. And Cheryl said, female dwarves all the way. I'm not sure I can explain why. They just clicked for me. Big thing I would like is Wildhammer allied race options. I figured out a lot about the Wildhammers, so who knows? You know, we got Dark Iron. I can see that happening. Chaotic Good Girl said, I pretty much always make female toons. I love goblins the most because I have the same sassy attitude and I'm just as tiny, 4 feet 8 in real life. Dragon Ray said, Draenei, I adore their face tentacles. I love their tails, their history, and yet I can't play them as they aren't Horde. I would change them to be faction switchers so I could play them. That would be nice. I think that would be a nice thing in the future if we could actually all change our races to no matter which faction you take. Because I'd probably take Trolls to the Alliance and my Blood Elf. So yeah. So for me, I think this is no surprise, of course, on Horde side, but let's go with the Alliance first. My favorite, absolute favorite, are Draenei and Night Elf. I was a Night Elf from the start, and I still like them, especially now after the customization. There is something about them that I really, really like. Draenei, because, come on, Draenei look amazing. Females, of course, I'm talking about females. Nothing wrong with male Draenei, but I prefer the females. And yeah, I don't know. I really like Draenei. It's probably the horns. I like anything that has horns, what I've heard. So that's really for Alliance. I don't have anything against the other races on the Alliance. I quite like Void Elves and those things, but I just like something that's a little bit more exotic, and the Draenei really tick that box for me, and Night Elf is more not like nostalgia for me. Now on the Horde, you know, I love my Blood Elf, I really do, and I like the Blood Elves. I like the questing in the starting area for Blood Elves. It's a certain atmosphere that I really, really enjoy. It's the same for Forsaken. I think the starting area is so rich in just the flavor that you get for the Forsaken, but you know, they're just, again, humans, and it's a bit meh for me. But Trolls, come on, you have to. I love Trolls, I really do, and I like the customizations for female and male Trolls. I just wish they had a little bit more like tattoo options, because I feel like with a tribal race like that, you should have some tattoo options. So yeah, that's the only thing I would change about Trolls. Other than that, I think they're perfect. I wouldn't change anything about them. I think also if I play Classic, the only race that on Horde side that I really, really like is Trolls, because they still look alright, whereas the rest I'm not too fond of. Alliance, that's a completely different thing on Classic. They look all a little bit better. So I think if I do make a Horde tune on the Classic side, then it will probably be a Troll or a Forsaken. I don't think I'll dabble with any of the other races there. And Alliance, definitely Night Elf. I've made my mind up and it's going to be a Night Elf. I just don't know which flavor yet. I'm a little bit... you know, I thought I knew what I wanted to play. First I thought maybe Druid, going back to my old ways, and then I thought no, probably not. Then I thought, well, I can always go back to Rogue, but Rogue is completely different than it is now, and I don't know if I can do that still. So yeah, I'm a little bit confused now. I might even roll Hunter, because there is something about having to, you know, get different pets to create the ultimate pet and just hunt people down in battlegrounds with a pet that's far quicker than others, than normal players, if they will still let you have that pet, if they haven't nerfed it. So yeah, I really don't know what to do now. That might be a thing to ponder about next time. I might actually throw this up as a question of the week. So yeah, that's really it. I'm sorry it's a bit of a shorter show, but I didn't want to not put anything out there. Again, you guys have been really, really kind on Twitter to me. I'm not going to lie, it made me well up a little bit. Of course, I was already really emotional anyway, but it's very much appreciated, and I really appreciate that you guys have still downloaded the show, despite me being a bit of a slacker with the interview this week. So thank you so much. Like I said, next week we're back to normal. But yeah, for this week a bit of a shorter one. Anyhow, I still need guests, so if you want to be an amazing guest, then please contact me. And you can find me in the following ways. Of course, you can contact me on Twitter at whispers_of_war. Or my private one, which is McMonkeys with a Z. My email, whispersofwarpodcast@gmail.com. Twitch, I keep saying it will happen soon. So I'm hoping to set that up soon. I'm almost done with my banners. I've been such a slacker. But that's also McMonkeys. It's twitch.tv/McMonkeys with 2 Z's. And then of course you can find the podcast at whispersofwar.podbean.com. If anything, I want to thank you all again and have a wonderful week and spend time with your loved ones, because if anything, you don't know, things can change. So yeah, appreciate each other and love each other and have a great time, and I will see you all next week. Bye bye.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.